The drill instructor shouted, "No recruit has ever passed Earth simulation." She raised her hand. The recruits stood at attention in the dimly lit chamber, their boots clanking against the steel decking of the orbital training station Aegis Prime. Rows of cadets, scales, fur, chitin, and skin, shifted nervously. The Galactic Defense Corps didn't discriminate on species, so long as you could fight. The chamber air was thick with sterilizer, recycled too many times. At the front, looming like a thundercloud, was drill instructor Varric. He was a massive Draxian, plated in obsidian armor flesh, his voice a booming quake that rattled the metal walls. "Recruits!" Varric barked, pacing. His tail lashed behind him, scarred from campaigns across 50 systems. You have endured plasma storms. You have endured vacuum exposure drills. You have faced simulation after simulation of worlds torn by war. He paused, his luminous eyes narrowing. But tomorrow, you face the one simulation no one has ever passed. The recruits murmured, exchanging nervous glances. Varric slammed his claw into the bulkhead. Sparks flew. The Earth simulation. A hush fell over the chamber. Even the species who had never seen Earth in the flesh knew the name. Earth, the lost cradle of humanity, abandoned centuries ago after ecological collapse and endless wars. It was said the planet was cursed, an unforgiving graveyard. The Galactic Corps preserved it in simulation training to test limits of survival. No cadet had ever lasted the full duration. No recruit has ever passed their simulation, Varric growled, voice shaking the air. It breaks every mind, every body. It reduces the boldest warriors into cowering husks. He stalked down the line, eyes burning holes in each cadet. Which of you thinks they will succeed where billions have failed? Silence. Recruits stared at their boots. No one raised a hand. Until, "I will." The voice was clear, human, and unshaken. Every head turned. Standing at attention was a young woman with cropped black hair and gray eyes that glinted like steel. Her uniform was pristine despite weeks of training abuse. Her name tag read, Cadet Alina Korolov. Varric's gaze locked onto her. He loomed so close his breath fogged her visor. "You?" "A Terran-born." His laugh was a rumble of thunder. "You think your blood gives you some advantage?" Alina did not flinch. "Not my blood, my will." The recruits whispered. Varric snarled, then barked laughter. "Very well. Tomorrow, Korolov, we'll see if you will survive Earth." Part 1. The Descent. The next morning, Alina stood alone in the simulation chamber. The others watched from the observation deck behind armored glass. Above her, the ceiling shimmered, then dissolved into the holographic illusion of open sky. Simulation initializing, droned the automated voice. The world materialized around her, a scarred, broken Earth, ashen skies, shattered skyscrapers, oceans reduced to sludge, winds howled carrying toxins, radiation warnings pinged on her HUD. "Parameters locked," the system announced. "Survive 30 standard hours. No external assistance permitted." Alina exhaled, grounding herself. Her father had told her stories of Earth, not the way it was now, but how it had been. Blue skies, forests, rivers that sang. He'd made her promise she would never forget, even if humanity turned its back. The HUD flickered. Radiation levels lethal. Shelter required. Alina pulled her rebreather tight and began moving. The city was a husk, skeletal towers jutting from poisoned soil. Automated defense drones stirred in the shadows, centuries old but still hostile. She crouched behind a wrecked vehicle, scanning. The first drone locked onto her. Red targeting lasers lit the haze. She sprinted. The drone's plasma bolt scorched the concrete behind her, sending molten sprays. She dove into the wreckage of a subway entrance, tumbling down shattered stairs into the dark. Her chest heaved. Dust clung to her faceplate. Rats, or what had once been rats, scuttled past, mutated and eyeless. Alina steadied her pulse. One step at a time. Shelter, food, water. She whispered her father's mantra. Part 2, Ghosts of Earth. Hours passed. Alina scavenged what she could. Broken ration packs, stale but edible. Melt water dripping through cracks. She rigged a crude filter from carbon scraps and cloth. The environment was hostile, yet familiar. She knew the ruins of Earth better than any alien cadet, not because she had lived it, but because she had studied obsessively maps, histories, survival texts. Still, the simulation pressed harder with every moment. Toxic storms whipped through the ruins, acid rain hissing against her shelter. Drones hunted endlessly. Radiation flares forced her underground. But the hardest assault came not from the environment, but from the visions. The simulation was designed to break recruits psychologically, dredging fears from their subconscious. Alina saw spectral humans wander in the ruins, shadows of Earth's dead. Their faces flickered like her mother's, her brother's. Voices called her name, whispering accusations. You left us. You abandoned Earth. You don't deserve to live. Her breath caught. Her hands shook. But she forced herself to answer aloud. I carry you. I don't abandon you. The voices hissed, fading into static. From the observation deck, recruits shifted uneasily. No one had ever stood so defiant against Earth's phantoms. Varric's jaw tightened. He leaned closer to the feed. Part 3, the Predator's Test. By the 15th hour, Alina had fortified herself in an abandoned bunker. She repaired a rusted rifle with scavenged coils, setting traps at the entrances. Her HUD clock ticked relentlessly. But the simulation was escalating. Warning alarms blared. Hostile entity inbound. The ground quaked. From the shadows of the wasteland emerged a colossal beast, stitched from Earth's nightmares. Part machine, part flesh, plated in metal bones, its maw bristling with plasma fangs. It was a Predator Construct, the ultimate test. Alina steadied her rifle. Heart hammering. She aimed. The Construct lunged, smashing through walls. She fired. Sparks burst across its armor, but barely slowed it. It roared, seismic and furious. She retreated deeper into the ruins, weaving through debris. Her traps detonated behind her, shrapnel slicing, acid fire flaring. The beast shrieked but kept coming. Cornered. Alina climbed to the roof of a half-collapsed tower. The Predator Construct clawed after her, tearing steel beams aside. Her rifle clicked empty. Her father's words echoed. Not your blood. Your will. She leapt, not down, onto the construct's back. The recruits in the observation deck gasped. Even Varric froze. Alina clung to the monster, scrambling up its armored spine. Sparks burned her gloves. The Construct twisted violently, trying to throw her. She jammed her combat knife into a seam between plating. Wire spat. She pulled a salvaged plasma cell from her belt, the last of her munitions, shoving it into the wound. She kicked off. The explosion tore the Predator's head apart. The beast collapsed in a shuddering heap, metal bones collapsing like dominoes. Alina hit the ground hard, rolling, lungs burning. She staggered upright. 30 hours had not yet passed. She forced herself onward, limping toward the horizon, refusing to stop. Part 4, the last hours. The final stretch was the worst. Alina's suit filters clogged. Her limbs ached. Hunger gnawed at her ribs. The voices returned louder, screaming this time. Every step felt like walking through sludge. She thought of quitting, just lying down, letting the Earth claim her like it had claimed billions. But then she remembered her father's eyes, tired but proud when she'd left the Corps. His voice saying, show them humanity's strength. She forced herself to keep walking. One step, another. Minutes dragged into eternity. She collapsed once, crawled, forced herself upright. Her HUD ticked closer. 29:57, 29:58, 29:59. The toxic storm broke. Skies splitting into pale light. Simulation complete. The voice intoned. Cadet Alina Korolov passed. Part 5, Aftermath. The simulation dissolved. Alina collapsed to her knees in the empty chamber, chest heaving. Sweat poured down her face, but her eyes blazed. The recruits in the gallery were silent, stunned. No recruit has ever passed her simulation, one whispered. She did, another replied. The door hissed open. Varric entered, towering over her. For a long moment, he said nothing, studying the trembling human. Finally, his voice rumbled, quieter than anyone had ever heard. Korolov, you did not just endure. You conquered. Alina struggled to her feet, standing at attention. Varric's gaze softened, almost imperceptibly. He raised his claw in salute. From this day, you are not merely a recruit. You are a soldier of the Galactic Defense Corps, and you have restored honor to the world your kind abandoned. Alina's chest ached with pride. From the observation deck, recruits, alien and human alike, saluted. For the first time in centuries, Earth's name was spoken not as a curse, but as a symbol of survival. Epilogue, a new beginning. Word of Alina's trial spread across the Corps like wildfire. Recruits trained harder. Veterans whispered of humanity's forgotten strength. Varric, once skeptical, requested Alina as his aide. Together, they began revising the simulation program, not to break recruits, but to teach them resilience. And though Earth itself remained a poisoned grave within the hearts of soldiers across the galaxy, it lived again. Cadet Alina Korolov had done more than pass an impossible test. She had reignited a legend,